And we are off. All right, hello once again, everybody, for the third podcast of the year, I believe. I'm back again with the Myriacast. Today, joining me, we have Abandon and Mason again. Thanks, guys, for
Hello.
stopping in.
Hello.
And today, we're talking about speedrunning, something that most of us do currently, one of us used to do, and a lot of the people in our friend groups tend to do. So I say we just dive right into it with asking, well, how do we start? For example, Mason, you were like the earliest probably, or a while ago. But when did you start speedrunning?
I want to say I think it was June of 2011, 2011 or 2012. I started out. I've been interested in speedrunning for a while because I was big into the Zelda games, and I looked up the speedruns for those. I tried learning Twilight Princess first any percent and then no saving quit, and both of those are awful categories to start in. they're It's a brutal speed run. It's like the world record for both of them is over 3 hours, and they're both just really hard. But after that, I got into Super Mario Sunshine, and that's the one that I actually like. I did decent. I never really streamed it. I couldn't stream it back then, but like I learned all the tricks and stuff. And I think when I timed myself, this was back in the old days, so I think I had like a 151 as my like record time for that.
Like any percent, or
For any percent,
okay, I
yeah.
figured.
Now like the record's like what, 114 or something. It's ridiculous. But
Sounds about right.
yeah, or 117, something like that. It's really low. But yeah, so that's how I got my start. I just looked up some speedruns, thought it was interesting, started watching them, and started doing the tricks.
What about you, Abandon? Where did you start out with the speed gamings?
So my first exposure to speedrunning was probably like 2012 or so. The guy who hosts Zeldathon, MC Gamer, was a huge fan. He's a huge fan of Wind Waker, and he was a huge fan of Wind Waker speedrunning. And so like he plugged Cosmo, right, now Narcissa, right, um, their channel, and while they were doing Wind Waker runs. And so I was like, huh, I'm a huge fan of Wind Waker. Let's see this. And so that's kind of what got me first into Twitch. It might have actually been 2011 now that I think about it. Um, but then I was kind of like, I want to speedrun someday, but I don't really have much streaming equipment. I don't really know how I would get started with this. Um, I'm just gonna hang on to the idea and maybe one day come back to it. And then Myriathon summer 2014, I did a really bad Kingdom Hearts 1.5 speedrun. It was probably like 5.5 to 6 hours. I didn't really know the
Ooh.
route. I hadn't played the game in a while, but it was so fun doing that. And like everyone on couch was like, final boss, like getting really excited for
For
it.
the 13th time you died on the final
Yeah, for like
boss.
the millionth time that I died. Um, so then like a month after the Myriathon, I got started streaming on my own channel, um and was like, okay, I'm gonna actually try to like learn the Kingdom Hearts 1.5 speedrun. And my first run, I got a few different viewers who are at least were relatively big names in the Kingdom Hearts community. I know like Sonic followed me then, and a few people who are now kind of completely up by the waysides, like Corlaxis, kind of found my stream from that. And I was just really excited to, A, be having viewers, and B, be welcomed into such a community. And so then I just started picking it up and running a lot more and moved on to other games after that.
Nice. Personally, I started, I believe it was my freshman year of college, when that would be AGDQ 2015. Yeah, I
Mhm.
graduated in 2014, so 2015 would be the first year. And I was playing League of Legends with some friends, like I used to do a lot. I never do that anymore, clearly. But
No, not at all.
I was playing the game, and one of my friends was like, "Hey, you like Kingdom Hearts?" I'm like, "Yeah, I like Kingdom Hearts." He's like, "Well, they're doing a speed run on this AGDQ thing where they raise money for charity. You should watch that." And the run was at about pardon my French, but I believe it was called ass o'clock in the morning. but it was on like Friday, so I had nothing else to do, like a college kid does when he doesn't work. And so I watched it, and I stayed up and watched the entire 2 Final Mix Critical Run, which I didn't even know Final Mix existed really, for that game. And I watched the entire run, loved it. Watched Dead.org, was like, I looked at it and I went, hey, I can do this, right? And made the terrible decision of running the game on PlayStation 3. I ran 2 Final Mix HD, which I'd picked up over Christmas. I played through it on Crit casually first, and then saw the speed run, was interested, so I learned the beginner game, and ended up running it to a couple people that are still my friends today, which was pretty cool. So
Nice.
yeah, so I learned from AGDQ 2015. I started out just made it. I had a Twitch channel, and then I started streaming on it, and kind of snowballed from there. A lot of KH, but so besides,
If I may,
yeah.
I don't remember the exact date of when I started watching speedruns, but I can tell you it was old because of the fact that I was watching them on Justin TV.
Oh, I
So
remember
that tells you.
Oh
hearing
yeah,
of Justin TV as I started out.
Yeah, I started watching them, I think, like a year and a half, 2 years before Justin TV was even talked about getting rid of, or something like that. When they were talking
Jeez.
about that. So
Mason's OG. Yeah.
it's been on the internet long.
So what other games have you guys played besides just the original one? Have you speedrun anything else besides the Sunshine Mason?
I'm currently learning some speedruns. I learned a bit of Battle for Bikini Bottom, SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't ever want to do that again. That game is hard. I always pick the hard games to learn how to speedrun. I'm currently learning Fable Anniversary. And I know there's another game.
That's your mistake. You pick the hard games, but you pick them, but then you play the easy category like I do.
Yeah.
Where I just pick super long games and play it on the easiest difficulty with the easy routes.
There's another game that I know I've speedrun and I can't remember what it is.
We can bounce back when you think of it.
Yeah.
Abandon, you've run a couple different things, I believe, right?
Oh yeah. So I started out, like I said, with
A little bit all over.
1.5, and then from there I was like, okay, when 2FM HD came out, I was like, I'm a little tired of 1.5. I'm frustrated with this game. Let's move on to let's try Birth by Sleep, because that looks like a shorter run. And I spent a whole lot of time running Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep.
For those curious,
was...
it was not a shorter run because load times are a mother trucker.
I mean, it was a much shorter run than
because it was also
than
PS3,
1.5.
But... Yeah,
but it was the PS3 version, and the run. My first run, I've looked back at it since then and just kind of laughed at myself, because like, it's really funny to look back at your first run of a game and just be like, man, I was so bad at this at the time.
Oh yeah.
But I started that probably in February 2015, and by April of 2015, I had got a record in Aqua Beginner. And so I was kind of like, okay, I can rest my laurels here. Like, this is nice. I've got this. And
I'm the
then,
best.
basically, yeah, I'm the best. Let's move on to try learning other categories of BBS, like other characters and stuff. And which was a lot of fun. But then what was it?
The grind happened.
No, then what happened was Sonic started messaging me. Sonic Shadow Silver 2 started messaging me, and it was like, "Hey, Abandon, what do you think about like this new route for it?" And I was like, "Oh, that sounds like a neat idea. I don't know how much more optimal the route can get though, kind of thing." And he thought otherwise, basically, and really routed the game to a whole new level. And then he took my world record, or the former record holder, Adam Timothy Zero, came back, took the record back. Then Sonic took the record, and then I was like, okay, I need to take this back. I can do it. And reclaimed it. And then the grind route came out, and I got really frustrated with that idea. So
it was a double route change.
Yeah. So it culminated. My run of running of BBS culminated in me throwing a controller at the floor, cracking it open. Completely breaking it. Granted, it was a dying controller anyway, but it was
now it was dead.
It was certainly dead at that point.
It was dying. Now it's just gone.
And this was also after I had moved to college, and when I had gone to college and started living in the dorms, I couldn't have a PS3 with me in my dorm room, so I started running Link to the Past on emulator, and I did a Chain of Memories speedrun as well. And Link to the Past, I want to get good at. It's a really fun game. It's just also really hard to get good at.
I really want to. I want to do randomizer runs of that game.
Randomizers are fun too.
They,
We should race sometime. In all honesty,
dude, I would be down. Oh yes.
I ran a randomizer at the last Myriathon, and it was 100% worth.
Myriathon, dude, Myriathon 2018, the year of the races.
Heck yeah, dude.
Mm-hmm.
But then I finally gave up on BBS and was like, okay, I need to either find a new game or a new category or something. And so I tried out Luigi's Mansion, No Out of Bounds, and had fun with that, but couldn't get into it enough. And then I picked up Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, fell in love with that, grinded it, got second place on the leaderboards because Ghostwheel, the record holder, is a complete legend, and I don't know how anyone can beat his time, in all honesty. Like his first run back, like really rusty run back, was still faster than my PB.
Minutes ahead of second place.
Yeah. And then recently, in about September of last year, I picked up Earthbound, and the Earthbound community has been one of the most like welcoming, friendly communities I've ever been in, and I'm just really happy to be running that game now. It's super chill, but the whole community is really supportive, and it's just been a good thing.
Nice.
I feel like you get a lot more support from those smaller communities,
I think
yeah.
so, yeah.
I mean,
It's more of a tight knit group.
I have not looked too much into like Odyssey speedrunning, but I'm assuming right now with how much, well, the hype's kind of died down from it, but
It's still a bit. It's still
probably
huge.
like growing out of its own constraints.
Yeah,
even
I would just say
Kingdom
the
Hearts
only
has
reason
gotten
it's really calmed down now is because Celeste came out, and Celeste has been the new hot speed
the
thing.
new hotness,
Yeah.
speeding. I mean, I've stayed pretty stagnant with speed games. I've only really run, I believe, 3 different games in total now. Because I ran 2FM, PS3. Well, I ran different categories, but 2 of the same game and then 1 new game that's out of my comfort zone. But I started with 2FM on the PS3, which, for people that don't know how bad PS3 load times are, I went from PS3 to PS4 when it came out, and I got it, and I saved an hour and 40 minutes on a bad run, on a rusty run. So, yeah, my PB from a 350 or 453 on PS3 is now a 312. So,
Jeez.
yeah, the times are insane. It's at least an hour and a half, I believe, is what people are saying. But besides the point, that's how bad PS3 was. That's why people ran on PS2 more often for 2FM. If you could get a JP1 and a JP copy or swap magic or whatever. But so I ran that for about, I think, like a year and a half, and I raced some small runner named Nintendo or something, and some other guys called Blue Infinity 22 and Spoon, and that was really fun. The 4 of us raced a lot, got grindy, and then everyone kind of like stopped for a bit of playing, and I kind of went on with my own for a bit before eventually Blue decided that he wanted to do the 12-hour challenge and do it of 1.5. So naturally, me and Spoon had to join him. And that was a whole fiasco. It was amazing. So the 3 of us get going on this game. We learn the game. We do the run. And about halfway through, like, Zetris, who was at the time one of the best runners at 1.5, he had the record in Proud.
He was the guy who ran it at
GDQ. Was it that year?
GDQ.
I think it was later that year he went.
It was later that year, but yeah.
But he was going in on all of us. It was amazing, and it was super fun. And then at the end, he's like, "All right, we're going round 2," and all of us are just going like, "What? We're done. We finished the game. We're done for the night." He's like, "No, Blue, you're going again. How about the rest of you guys? Are you joining us?" Didn't even wait for a response from Blue. He's like, "Blue's racing again. Are you guys joining us?" And it's like, well, I mean, can't say no to that. So
Zetris is a really cool guy. He's
also my twin, apparently.
I can kind of see it.
I've heard Ian got confused at GDQ last year because of it. But
He's like super down to earth. He was one of the first people who I really talked to for advice on running 1.5 when I started in 2014, and he was super helpful. He's like still one of my favorite people in the community, even though I haven't really seen him do streams lately.
yeah, he's been pretty dormant as well. I told you he's me, dude. We both go on hiatus at the same time. We're never in the same place. But yeah, so from 1.5, I played that for quite a while. I did the tournament of 1.5, both of them, I think, actually. Did I do both? Yeah, I did both. Um, I tried as hard as I could to choke away that first match too in that tournament, the first one, but managed to sneak through, won a couple matches, made friends with some people like Haunter, who I beat in the tournament, and FaZe in that group, and basically got everybody to root for me against Gold, and it was great. For meme purposes that I won't go into, but so from there I kind of stopped playing that for a while because that was back on PS3. PS4 came out for 1.5, and I started playing that and grinded that for a bit and attempted to do the tournament, and then kind of just stopped for a while after that. Um, Kept playing it until about SGDQ 2017, where I went undefeated in the back-to-back runs at GDQ because I am a legend and there was only three other people, and Beatrue got unplugged to the first run. But that's besides
Wait,
the
you
point.
lost? You beat Wyatt?
Wyatt didn't play 1.5, so he didn't want to
Right.
do it. So undefeated, the world champion of me, Jeff, Spoon, and Beatrue. Thank you very much. I'll hold my belt. But that was really fun. I beat Beatrue by about, I think, less than 30 seconds because he choked on Final Zemnis. But really fun. And then I kind of just like stopped playing that game for a while and started to learn a new game of Super Mario RPG, which is longer than the new Cage is, but also very fun and rewarding. And I've been really enjoying that. So kind of been on hiatus for a bit though. Thought about getting back into speedrunning, maybe learning Odyssey and stuff, but at the moment, probably gonna start learning 2FM again for that tournament that I've been coerced into signing up for yet again.
Gotta defend your title, man.
No, I'm bad when it comes to like multi people. Four is my limit in a tournament. Yeah, that's kind of how I got started in the games I've been bouncing around to, and kind of moves on to the next point of well, I'm gonna skip ahead and go ahead and ask like what makes a really good speed game, like from your guys' perspective. What do you think is one of the biggest things about a game that makes it either really interesting to watch or fun to play as a speed game or things like that?
um, I'd say at the very like either how rewarding it is in terms of like skill at the game, or how rewarding in terms of like the tricks that you can do that make it like fun to see how you can break the game.
Do you think
I'd
it's
agree with that in a lot of cases. I think in some ways it depends on the run
Yeah.
and the game. I think sometimes glitch runs are really awesome to watch. Like, OOT any percent is a really interesting kind of silly thing to see how fast that can go. But at the same
Mhm.
time, I think some of the like slower games are also equally enjoyable.
like your RPGs, your
Yeah, like
art?
Oh yeah.
RPGs that can, go for like I think Final Fantasy X is like a 10-hour speed run or something like that. Um, but yet a lot of people run it, or for that length of a game, a lot of
They
people
give you
run
the
it.
whole seat to watch, but you only need the edge.
um, gosh darn it, Dash.
Sometimes.
It's a good balance, right?
Yeah.
Because it depends on what you're looking for. Because I feel like there's like three separate categories. There's games that are good for runners, there's games that are good for viewers, and then there's somewhere in the middle as a combination of both. And
Mhm.
a lot of speed games have a little bit of everything.
Hmm.
Where it can be fun to watch a mini game from a viewer standpoint, but the 100th time you're doing the run, it really sucks to do balloons. But
Yep. And I'd say that what's really good for runners is very much runner dependent. I think I find RPGs a lot more satisfying to run through than like action platformers like Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, for example.
Mhm.
If you want to call that an action platformer.
that's a borderline RPG. It's hard to
I
say.
mean it's
It's
an
so
RPG,
short.
but it's much more actiony than a,
But the story,
Earthbound. um but like I know a lot of people who really enjoy running Kingdom Hearts games for good reason. and I think it's just a matter of the personality of the runner.
So with that, like, why are the Mario's and Zelda so popular? Is it the nostalgia? Is it the fact that they're actually good speed games? Do you think, or is it like somewhere in between?
I would say Mario games are good speed games. I would not say that for the Zelda games.
Is it just because they're so broken that they make good speed games?
It's more that they are. I'd say the platformers just in general make good speed games because it allows for a lot of improvement and it shows.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And for Mario games, they're just
They are
the OG.
platformers.
They are the OG platformers. They were the ones that created the genre. So it they make good speed games because it really shows you just like the difference between like Cheese, who's one of the best runners for SM64, versus me playing the game. Like, it is insane watching a good runner at doing what they do in that game.
I think I agree and disagree with what you said. I think Zeldas can be really good speedruns as well. I do think I think if you're looking for strictly like what can be a really fair competition, I think Mario or like platformers that are very little or non-existent RNG
Very
are a
linear.
lot better.
Mhm.
But then at the same time, I think Zelda's like I said, Link to the Past has been a huge blast for me. Um, I think that can make a really entertaining game because of the nostalgia factor. And for the runner, it's really fun because there are some things that you just can't really anticipate when you get into the glitch side of things. And when you're playing just like no major glitches kind of categories, you're still there's a lot of routine that goes into it even still. It's still a relatively consistent thing.
I I guess I would say I misspoke by saying that they're not good speed games. It's just that they're a very different kind of speed game.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And like, you've been bringing up the glitchless ones. I personally watch a lot of glitched runs, and
Mhm.
it's really funny watching like Skyward Sword and Twilight Princess specifically. Just the certain glitches that you see in that game, and watching how broken you can actually make those games is just really fun to see, honestly.
Oh, for sure. That's one of the reasons I got into them. Like Wind
Watch
Waker, it's so fun watching the super swimming where Link will just go back and forth over and over again until he just launches into space basically.
I still think one of my favorite things I've ever seen during a speed run is in Twilight Princess when you first meet Princess Zelda. You're supposed to be Wolf Link, but there's a way, like for most speed runs, you're supposed, like, you're already able to transform by that point.
Mhm.
And watching someone go into that cutscene as Human Link destroys that game, and it's terrifying to see what Human Link in the like what the area of Wolf Link should be, and just watching how the game breaks him in
To
ways,
fit into
Yep.
that little box.
fitting him into that box, like his body just goes ways that it shouldn't, and it's hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just stuff like that. Like, I enjoy it. I do.
Well then,
Oh, for sure.
for example, like the awful games on Quick Block, they could be
Oh
awful
yes.
games, but are they also good speed games? Is the question. And is there a balance between, like, there could be a really good game, but it's not a good speed game? Obviously, like all the Final Fantasies. I might even throw Chrono Trigger in there. It's an excellent game. I don't know if it's considered. I'd consider it a great speed game because of the length or the like the strategies that you have to use in a lot of RPGs just gets to, oh, we use this OP character for 13 hours in a row because he's broken, and we use a final ether on the boss and the game is over and we're good.
Mhm.
Like, I feel like the
Um,
games that lead to a big climax at the end, or even like where like there's a lot of difficult tricks throughout or a balance of tricks throughout, I think is really important as well.
I mean, I feel like certain of the awful games in that block can be good. Like, some of them are great speed games, but some of them just are they're there for the memes. Like, Come on, man. You can't tell me that Sonic 06 is a bad speed game. It's made around speed.
It's Sonic. You gotta go fast. They're all good speed game because he's a speedy hedgehog.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah, totally.
That's how that works.
Because he runs fast, therefore it's good.
You gotta go fast, man.
I mean, no one wants to watch Kingdom Hearts where Sora's jogging all the time. Come on. Pick up the pace, man. I mean, it's important to have a balance, right? A game can be good, but not great for a viewer too, in a sense of... I'd say almost BBS is kind of in that category of it could be a really good speed game, but from a spectator standpoint, I never really enjoyed watching it. I would watch it more for the person streaming as opposed to the actual run.
Oh, yeah.
But it's hard to say.
What's funny for me, and this is just from my experience, is whenever I come back to BBS, I get like the most viewers I've ever had, and I think that's probably in part because
That's
people
what you
kind of
came
are
from.
people are expecting me to run BBS, or they're like, "Oh man, I miss the days of abandoned running BBS." But
I
it's just
don't.
kind of funny for me because I think, Legend of Zelda is a much more interesting speed game compared to BBS. And then it's just like, "Oh no, you're running Zelda. Why would I watch that?"
You're not a Zelda runner. Get out of here. You're not good. Well, that comes from an issue of saturation too, right?
Hmm.
For example, it'd be really hard to get a following if you started streaming League of Legends now. But if you started streaming Fortnite when it was first coming out, that's probably a better option for you. They're both really popular games, but if you're good enough at one, people will watch you.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas
Mhm.
now, even if you're good at League, it wouldn't matter because even like people who are like the highest challenger are getting tens to hundreds of viewers, whereas Platinum 2 Hashinshin is getting 100,000 viewers for ranting about top lane or whatever. But that's just an example of saturation with streams and stuff. Like I felt like my viewers were really sporadic when I streamed. It would be like I would get some with 2FM, I'd get some with 1.5 on some days, I'd get some with RPG on other days, and it was just kind of all over the place. Whereas either I'd get all or none. Like I'd get like 6 people watching at once or -2,
Yeah.
because it counts you as -2. No, but and transitioning from that, for example, like what games do you guys kind of like to watch then, from a speed game perspective? Like there's the obvious ones. Like now, I guess you could probably throw Odyssey in there. It's really fun to watch, in my opinion. But at the same
I have
time,
not watched it, but that's just because I'm trying to stay
yeah,
unspoiled of that game until I actually play it.
that's fair.
But I enjoy the Mario games. That's just what I enjoy. And I enjoy the Zelda games, but um I really enjoy like older platformers like Spyro and Crash. Those are a lot of fun to watch. Um
Spyro's broken.
Spyro's really broken.
A lot of those older games, I don't know if you noticed this,
Oh
but
yeah.
they're not exactly coded properly, and or if they
No.
are, they made some shortcuts somewhere that people found.
Hmm.
I
A
think
lot of the time, the games I enjoy watching are games that I played in my childhood. It's like the nostalgia factor again.
Oh yeah.
Um, so yeah, like Mario is a huge one for me, and the Zelda games. Wind Waker, I loved as a kid.
Ratchet and Clank.
Ratchet and Clank,
Yep.
heck yeah.
Um
Um,
we just makes me think of Jack and Daxter, which makes me think of
Bonesaw.
Bonesaw.
Oh
Bone
boy. Nope. Not this podcast.
uh,
Later.
Welcome to podcast number 4, Banned People.
Hey, he's not banned anymore.
Nearly banned
True.
people.
um, oh, what other games do I really enjoy? Oh, whatever game I end up speedrunning at a time. Like I love watching Earthbound runs right now. The former any% glitchless record holder just got partner, and it's been really hype being in his stream, and it's really fun to watch him. So like, I'm always excited to be there.
Oh, that guy you're watching at Myriathon who got record by like a minute?
Yeah, I think so. Or if you're referring to the guy after the Myriathon, that was a different guy. Um, they've had a really intense competition for record back and forth recently.
That's always fun too.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Like the days of Zetrus versus Biscuit of going for proud any% was
Mhm.
amazing. I think they spent like 2 weeks of literally every other day someone would take it by like a second or two until Zetrus finally blew it open with an offline run that was like a minute and a half ahead of record.
Yeah.
And it was just, that game was like almost dead for a while until there was route changes. Which I think they
And
do
then
Oblivion
I've
route now.
gotten I don't know about you, Mason, but I've gotten really into watching Link to the Past randomizer runs. Those are
They're
just
so much fun to watch.
so entertaining.
It's because of the fact that it takes a lot of like thinking on the fly that it makes it so much fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Where you're just like, okay, well, I have this item now, so I have to go here, and it might have this item, but if it doesn't, then I can't do this.
It basically turns it into a roguelike speedrun.
It does.
Yeah, and like a puzzle at the same time.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, well, I need this, this, and this item, and then I can get into go mode and beat the game.
It's kind of like meme categories of like bingo card runs,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like, oh, I gotta do that, but I've never done that before, so how would I do that? Well, I could get this star here and that star there, add that moon in there or whatever. Gotta beat the game first to do this, and I always like when new categories evolve too out of speed games.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
for example, Kingdom Hearts right now is having a resurgence of 2FM with a new category called All Ass. It's
Yep,
called
the
that
all absent
because
silhouettes.
all absent silhouettes, which is AS, but for some reason they had an extra S because, we're children. But
Speaking of this, I remembered what game I used to speedrun as well.
ooh, call back.
It's Undertale.
Oh man,
Did
I
it
used to do genocide route runs of that.
you don't happen to know TGH as well, do you?
I don't know him. I had issues with him and his chat
Oh,
that I will not go into. But I
What's
can
the
tell you
drama
guys
alert
about
stream?
afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah.
the drama cast. Oh man, we
Um,
could get Blue in here, Abandon, and Mason, and we'll just go all about all the past drama of speedruns that we've been involved in.
oh God. Oh, all of the Dark Souls and Bloodborne games, super fun to watch.
Bloodborne is one that I watched so much lately with Jesus Here's Toast,
Yeah.
who ran at GDQ.
Jesus.
He's such an entertaining runner to watch. He gets like this really big like WWE announcer kind of voice going on sometimes.
It's so
it's-
good.
It's been like an addiction lately for me almost.
I really enjoy watching Bubbles Del Fuego.
Mm-hmm.
He's because he plays all of the From Software games, and it's a lot of fun watching him because most of the time he's really just deadpan, but he's hilarious.
Yeah.
I think
So-
I like a balance of games. Like I'll go from watching games I like, watching games that are difficult that I like or have played or am playing, and watching just meme games because of the streamer. In a sense of, I really liked watching Crit and Proud runs when people were doing them, because I was just like, yeah, eventually I'll get into that category as I look at my disc and want to break it in half for beginner. But I also really liked a lot of the runs that I watch that are of games I don't play tend to be off of people I've watched from GDQ. To be
Yeah.
honest, where I picked up from Ratchet and Clank because I saw Zem at GDQ. I picked up on watching Witwix because he played Bashi at GDQ. I started watching what was it? Oh my god, I'm blanking on it. But yeah, essentially that kind of thing where I pick up games from GDQ and enjoy them. And
Yeah, I usually for me it's like a
Mm.
game, and then I watch the game, and then I see other runners that weren't the GDQ runner, and I'm like, huh, this run looks like a lot of fun, and then I just start branching out really far from there.
it's gonna be a
Yeah,
callback.
that's basically what I do. Like I'll watch either a GDQ runner or I'll watch someone that I have been watching before, and then I'll like in their chat there'll be other runners, and then they'll run other games, and then I get like on a chain of that kind of thing.
Yep.
This will probably be a callback to one of our past podcasts, but what was one of the runs you guys were surprised about from like a GDQ before that was actually a really good speed game or really entertaining?
Jack and Daxter.
I
Oh,
I
man.
loved Resident Evil 7 this past year.
Oh, that
Resident Evil, that
amazing.
was a really good one. I
That
was
followed Carcinogen for a
fantastic.
while.
That was a game that I just didn't see coming no matter how hard I looked at the list, because I looked at it when it was starting and I was like, oh yeah, I mean, it's a horror game. It's probably like PT where you just walk from place to place. But then I realized like, oh wait, this is RE7, which is actually like a really good game now again.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And man, was that run impressive.
See, I had followed Distortion 2 for a long time, and he started running Resident Evil 7 when it came out. And so I knew that RE7 was going to be a really good run, but I had kind of forgotten about Carcinogen. And his personality with that run was so great that I was just like, this is probably one of the best runs of the marathon.
Plus, you look at how that game does a lot of things right that you like in speed games, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
relatively quick and easy to watch. It's really difficult, which adds to that like suspense of the challenge of like this guy could die from making one false like aim on the shotgun,
Oh
or if,
yeah.
and it also adds to the thing that you guys like from randomizers, where it's like you're adapting to the run every time based off drops, basically. Oh, I have
Mm-hmm.
18 shotgun shells. Well, usually I have about 16, so I'm pretty good. I can miss a couple shots here. Or
Yeah,
I need like one
exactly.
more clip of pistol ammo. We'll be good to go. And especially because he played on Madhouse NG Plus, that was just insane
Yeah, it
how
was
tight that game was.
terrifying to watch.
Yeah.
So many times he almost just got like one hit by everything, and it was just it was super like clenched the whole time. Like again, call back to earlier joke. You get the entire seat, but you only need the edge. But man,
I mean, honestly
that was
though.
that was one of my favorite runs from like this GDQ and like past GDQs as well. Just from a viewer standpoint, I would never
Yeah,
run it
I'd say
myself, but
that's one of my favorites. I really enjoyed the no levels early DK64 run from not like this past GDQ or like a recent one, but like back when Two Dose ran it, because like
Oh yeah.
the introduction that they gave on it, where they were like joking around about like this isn't supposed to happen this way. Like, why aren't you able to control this? Why am I getting like sent back to the main menu kind of thing? Was really funny, and Two Dose is just a really entertaining runner with his kind of commentary on DK64. His like laid back, I don't really care about this game, but also this is a really cool game kind of attitude.
Um, I'm
any
trying to
great
think.
games you can think of, Mason, that you've seen at a GDQ or anything like
This
that?
past recent one, this past recent AGQ, they had an Ori and the Blind Forest race,
Ooh,
and that was a fantastic run to watch. It was so cool to watch. Like, it's amazing just what they did with that game and how they sequence braked, but also like just the sheer skill of like the way that their powers worked and how they used them. It was really cool to watch.
yeah, I think races are always awesome too.
Yeah,
It's really
I'll
hard to
never
find a good race, but when you get them, it's intense.
I'll never forget the race at I think it was SGQ last year where it was the Mega Man or it was the Mega Man X2 or 3 race with
Ooh,
Caleb Hart. And
Mm-hmm.
Caleb Hart, like everyone was cheering, like I was cheering for him, but no one else was. And he got really close to winning, and then just choked right at the end.
that's a lot how my race went in the first 1FM tournament, where I was facing this guy who's Mr. Zwanzig. He does a lot of the
He runs a lot of
he
games.
runs a lot of the fan games, and he runs. I think he has the record in Final Fantasy, not 14, maybe 14,
No, 14 isn't
maybe
like a
it might be 10 actually, but
14's the MMO, so I would doubt it would be
oh yeah, that's right.
14.
Or maybe it's
Yeah,
13 then,
Um,
but I
13
digress.
is final hallway.
But I was racing him, and it was my first match of the tournament, and I had the worst kind of luck you could think of in this run. I missed hook ship not once but twice, which lost me a minute and a half when I was already in the lead. I went from in the lead by about a minute to behind by 30 seconds. Then made up most of that time in the very next segment with the mini boss in Antisora and Hook Ship, but then proceeded to
mhm.
die to Maleficent Dragon, bring all that time back, and like just had this like really mediocre run that was really interesting to watch as a race because I was ahead, fell behind because of bad luck, kept getting this bad luck, and then almost pulled it back 4 or 5 times before the end of the run to the point where if he had died on one of the endgame bosses, I would have won the race. But I still choked it, so it's fine. But that was one of my favorite experiences from racing, even if I lost. On top of the fact that I'm undefeated against the current world record holder Ninten in 2FM races, because I taught him everything he knows. And KH community, you are welcome for that. I'm responsible for that.
See, I think racing is probably like the best part of speedrunning in my opinion.
I would agree with that, honestly.
It's hard.
Like,
It's hard to get a good race going though.
no,
In
It
a sense of like,
depends on the game.
or what you're looking for. Like you can just race for fun, right? And expect like this person's gonna win because their PB is 6 minutes better or whatever.
hmm
Hmm.
But getting there's about like I enjoy that as well, obviously, because that's what I did for so long. That's how I speedran for so long.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I could never place a lot of those races ahead of the times where I'm racing like Haunter and 1FM and we're going into final rest at the same clip. And it's super close, and like one mistake means you're going to lose the race kind of thing. And that's really fun to do as well.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I I think the best time I had running Birth by Sleep was doing races with people, even if I knew that, or even if they went in thinking like, oh, I'm gonna lose this. I was, even in spite of being, the record holder, I was still like such an inconsistent runner just because the game is such an inconsistent game that um I was in TeamSpeak because this was back before Discord was even a thing.
Age
With
team speak.
Mysora 99, now El Jefe 99, and he pulled ahead of me because I forgot to do a menu. We were also in chat in TeamSpeak lobby with Rebel Dragon 95, who ran BBS at this past GDQ, and he was like, "Yo, Abandon, you should just do triple Firaga strats," and I was like, "Wait, what even is triple Firaga?" And so I learned a lot about the game during that, and then it was just became a complete meme because there's no way on earth that you have to basically make an additional command. You have to meld an extra command and sell a bunch of stuff and get more money to be able to even make it work. So there's no way it's actually going to be faster, but it is just so fun to make something that is just such a janky kind of command that's not really at all
Oh man,
faster.
we had a, I had an experience like that racing in 2FM once where story time here, but we're doing a 4-man race. It's me, Blue, Spoon, and Ninten, and we're in Olympus Coliseum. And for those of you that don't know Kingdom Hearts, Olympus Coliseum, you have to run away from Hades while clearing 3 waves of enemies. Well, this part is actually really dangerous, because even on beginner, you put yourself purposely below half health to grind experience. This is the old route where you had to do this. And I died on it, which is about a 3.5 minute time loss on PS3. On like the second wave or whatever. And I'm like super frustrated and stuff, and then my buddy Spoon also dies on it. So
Mm-hmm.
I maintain my, like, I can still pass Blue. Nintendo's like flying away at this point, and so then you get back up there, like, all right, I'm still in this, second place is fine, and then I die again on the final wave, and I am like, oh, so upset, like spike controller kind of rage, and then Spoon dies again, and we just start rolling with how hilarious it is. We both die twice in the same run just so Spoon would never beat me in a race. Because at this time, mind you, at this time, I had never lost a race to Spoon or Blue or Ninten. Like, I would always just win these races through divine
What happened to
intervention.
Nintendo with that race?
Oh, it gets better. I was going to get to that part. So we finally
Okay.
get through OC. At the end of Olympus Coliseum, this is before Ninten had webcam or voice chat. So he types in the Discord chat, "I had a bad OC, guys."
Mhm.
And I just go, "Oh, you had a bad OC. I didn't notice. Sorry. That's unfortunate for you, Ninten." Like I would. And the best part is, at the very end of the run, I end up overtaking Blue. I'm still ahead of Spoon, and Ninten crashes on Zemnis 1, so I win the race because Ninten can't finish. So I maintained never losing a race through 2 deaths on Hades Escape, which is about a 7-minute time loss.
Well, you
And
know what
that
that means, Daj? If Nintendo's running in the KH2FM tournament,
I won't
you've
have
got
to
to
face
run
him.
in it, and you've got to face him,
Nope.
and then he's got to crash, and you beat him.
Oh my god, that would be the greatest meme ever. If somehow by divine intervention I beat Ninten in 2FM again.
You just can never lose to Nintendo in races.
I'd be like, "Hey Ninten, let me tell you a great storyline here. Just shut off your console on accident." It'll be great. It'll be a great meme that'll go down in history. Trust me, man.
Sure, Nintendo, you don't get the fidget spinner, but
He'll still win the tournament. This will be in pools, but
that's possible, true.
and even if it's not, I think they're doing 2 out of 3 for the rest. But yeah, that's one of my favorite stories of all time from races. Uh, God, races are just, they're another experience of fun. I think we're having some at the Myriathon this year, probably.
Oh, yeah.
We have some terrible ideas for me and Noah and Isaac.
Yep.
Possibly Mason, if we're gonna do this a 2v2 race, but
Oh, we better.
we'll get more into that.
And the possibility of a Mario Odyssey relay race kind of thing.
Yeah, we can do that too.
Bandon and I raced randomizer Link to the Past.
I'm 100%
We need to
down
do a
for that.
Myriathon of races, like a block of speedrun races or whatever, or just races of games.
I
So
like
fun.
the idea.
I think it's a good idea.
But back on the topic of today, last kind of thing I kind of have written down here is talking about some of the favorite streamers we have that do speedruns. Some of the favorite people you like watching. Like you mentioned, Carcinogen's pretty great
Hmm.
for attitude, and hey Zeus, here's
Hey
toast.
Zeus, here's toast.
That name. Oh,
Mhm.
but
Um,
what are some of your favorite guys to watch? I think Mason knows
I
some okay runners, right?
I know some okay runners. I
Sunshine
know
guy.
I know Bouncy Boy, who is I don't think he actually has the record in Sunshine anymore, but he used to have the world record in pretty much every category of Sunshine.
Still pretty well known, I think, right?
Yeah, he runs 64 now. But he was the one that ran it at GDQ last year. What else? I really enjoy Thursday. He's a Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword runner. Currently, he's actually doing a Wheel of Pain 100% run, which is whenever someone subs to him, he spins a wheel and has to follow a certain guideline that he must follow. Otherwise, he has to just kind of stand there and lose time. It's pretty hilarious.
That sounds pretty painful.
It it's bad. Um, what else?
Deadman 27 because he's really great and fun to watch.
I like watching Shift. Shift is a lot of fun to watch. Um,
Shift.
He
he's
battled for
the
Bikini Bottom.
he's the world record holder for that.
The greatest meme speed game that's ever come out of
Oh,
2017.
it's a hard game though. That's the weird part is that it's a really hard speed
So
game.
it belongs in awful games done quick.
But it's not a bad game. Like anyone who has ever played that game will tell you it is a good game.
What about you, Abandon? What are some of the people you like watching a bit?
So lately I guess one of the people I've always enjoyed watching has been Andy.
Oh, I
He's a
love
Link to the
Andy.
Past runner, and he's got
Craigasm.
this really goofy personality, and he's a huge pug fanatic, and I'm a huge pug fanatic, so it just
What?
works out perfectly. Um, on top of that, I think the majority of Earthbound speedrunners I will watch in their chat and just lurk and enjoy watching their streams. Most of the time because it's really comfy and just fun to chill and watch in. Um, those are the big ones I've been watching recently. And then whenever I see like a race of Celeste going on lately, that's been always fun to catch, especially with like Spike running that a ton.
I think you can't talk about great streamers to watch without at least mentioning Spike Vegeta.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
He is a
Spike.
legend, I'd say, in the speedrunning, just because he does so many different games
Mm-hmm.
and is
And
just
he's
as
a
entertaining
meme
with
in
each
his
one of them.
person. Just as a person, he is a meme.
I don't think he ever gets any less entertaining, no matter which game he's running.
He really doesn't.
It's really impressive.
I've been saying this throughout the podcast, but of course, the one, the only Bonesaw 577.
Hashtag Bone Mom.
Legitimately, like even aside from his crash and burn that was SGDQ 2016,
I wonder if he ever found his car keys on the way out.
I don't know. He is just a genuinely fun runner to watch. I think lately he hasn't been streaming lately, but back when he was streaming, he was running Siren and Siren 2 on the PS2. And it was still like really entertaining to watch him. So, yeah.
Shameless plug for a buddy of mine. I've said this before, but one of my comfiest streams to watch, in my opinion, is actually Blue Infinity 22.
Blue is a really comfy streamer to watch.
His chat is really entertaining. He's a fun, comfy stream to just hang out and chill in because he's never rude to really anybody, and he does get a little bit upset sometimes, but it's really hard to see him actually get upset at the game.
And usually when he gets upset, it's like not a very like aggressive anger. It's more like, man, this kind of sucks.
It
Like
sounds
this
like
is...
I just want to pat him on the head and tell him it's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a great runner to watch for just a comfy stream. On that note, Zetrus is also really entertaining for comfy. Either he has music on or he's just really good and there's just quiet, like chill voice. Unlike me. Why I think I'm like we're probably like split at birth, right? Like twins. And I'm like the overly exuberant, never shuts up type. He's the other half. but
He's the other one.
he's the other one who got the actual speedrunning talent. But who else do I like watching? I don't know. Some rack runners are pretty cool, I guess.
Zem's always fun.
Zem's pretty great. But Arbright84, I think is the name. I think that's the stream name. He is a SMRPG runner who has a really comfy stream. I think the TLDR here is I like comfy streams.
Same. And speaking of comfy streams, I've got to plug like I mentioned earlier, the Chain of Memories world record holder, Ghost Wheel. He doesn't stream too much anymore. He's been a little bit off the internet, I think, because of work. But whenever he's streaming, he is super chill, super comfy to watch, and it's just like he knows so much about the game that it's hard not to enjoy it.
I mean, in terms of like actual active streamers I like watching, Whitwix used to do a lot of speed gaming with Bashi. He has since moved on to more like actual just streaming. He did Mario Maker for like a year and a half.
Streamed in a while.
No, he's been gone for like a month and a half, but yeah, it happens to people.
Yeah, he seems to have like month-long hiatuses from streams.
But he actually got back into Bashi this year, which was really fun to watch. A lot of great stream highlights came out of that. I can't think of too many more people I watch nowadays. Like I watch Ninten because he's really good at games. He's a pretty comfy stream.
One of my favorite streamers to watch who occasionally speedruns is Inexpensive Gamer. He does Mega Man 3 speedruns from time to time and Link to the Past randomizer runs from time to time. Generally, he's just a variety streamer, but it's fun to watch.
I used to watch this guy Abandon the Myriad. He used to run Aqua Beginner, but
he used to speedrun video games, and then he vanished when the world needed him most.
He vanished when he realized Twitch was Twitch. Yeah, I mean, other than that, I don't think we got too much more to talk about tonight. Any last things you guys have to throw in there?
Yeah, you should follow me at twitch.tv/automaton.
Alright, that's enough from that. Oh my god, 1969 you mean?
1989?
No, 69 dude.
My gosh.
Memes.
Jeez.
But I think that'll do it from us tonight. Be sure to check us out in 2 weeks for the next Myriacast. And be sure to tune in for the Myriathon. We do have a date now. It's June 15th through the 18th. It'll be for the Direct Relief Charity, and we're calling it Myriathon Assist. So be sure to stay tuned for some more information as we get closer for possibly games list and things like that.
And do follow us on Twitter at the Myriathon.
Yeah, plugs. Feel free to join the Discord. Link will probably not be in the description, but I believe is on the Myriathon
down below.
Twitch. So it's down below somewhere. So
yeah, it's on the Twitch.
Yep. Be back in 2 weeks. Thanks for watching, and have a great night.